Hey guys, my name is Crazy Penguin. Welcome back to Relax and Reflect, FPSGeneral's weekly podcast. I'm here with Samson and Nikolai, and this week we're going to be talking about DLC as well as some of the games that are going to be coming out the remainder of this year. All right, guys, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Samson here. I'm a 360 gamer. Enough said.
How's it going, guys? I'm Nikolai, the FPS General Manager, and so we're going to be talking today about DLC, as Crazy mentioned. We're not going to just be talking about, just DLC in general, but, a lot of the stuff like unlockable content that's on the disc, at launch DLC, other things like that. So let's bring up the first one, and let's talk about free DLC. I know a lot of companies charge for their DLC, but you have things like Gotham City Imposters and Team Fortress 2 that, constantly have free DLC. Now, obviously, they can support this with, their different business models, but we know like things like Call of Duty and obviously Battlefield, charge for their content, and sometimes that comes out right, but most of the time it feels a little bit cheap. What do you guys think?
I'm a big fan of free DLC. Give me more free DLC. I don't know why there isn't more companies doing this. It's just going to make more people want to play their game. More people want to go out there and buy their game so they can get this DLC. More free DLC. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm of the same impression. Definitely, free DLC is the way to go, but who doesn't like free? I can understand the concept of charging for everything you do because you got to pay your workers, but milking every penny out of you isn't doing right by your customers. Somebody like Riot Games with their League of Legends or Gotham City Imposters who released a game, for a fifth the price and give free DLC on top of that, that's just smart. That's doing right by your customers.
Yeah, and obviously some of these games aren't AAA titles. But when you have games like Call of Duty that Modern Warfare, I think this last one made over what $1 billion or whatever, and then they're charging $15, I think it is, for like the one map pack or whatever. But it's not just that. It's not I'd almost be willing to pay that almost. But the thing is that as with Call of Duty and a couple other things, you have a lot of fragmentation on the DLC. Microsoft obviously has paid to have the DLC faster and first on the Xbox. Now, that's if they want to do that, go just go do it, and happy for them. Everyone on Xbox is winning. But the company that's actually making the game, when you look at Infinity Ward or Sledgehammer, I obviously we don't know what their stance on it is, but I mean they're heavily fragmenting the user base from PS3 to PC, and I guess Wii too. But it's like for us to get the DLC so much later and not offer the same choices on Xbox, at a certain point it just becomes rude and annoying. It's obviously they want to drive people to their system, but it's just annoying to me. It is. I mean, I understand why, and I understand why it exists and all that, but I just can't wrap my mind around why they consistently keep doing it and pushing away the other user bases.
See, Call of Duty is the perfect place to have a little bit of free DLC. Charge for new maps. I don't personally agree that it should be $15 for the map packs, but charge for those. And thank you, Microsoft. Us lucky 360 owners get the maps early. I'm all for that. That's business. People got to make their money. But they really have an opportunity with free DLC. Like release a couple rehashed Modern Warfare 2 maps, or bring back a COD 4 map for Modern Warfare 3, and make that free DLC that's available on, all consoles like PS3, the 360, make it available on the PC as well. And, that'll kind of give everybody something. Sure, Microsoft will have an exclusive for a little bit, but everybody will have some free DLC, some new maps. So that keeps it fresh for everybody that's got the game. Nobody has to wait. So I think free DLC is a good thing. And Call of Duty and Infinity Ward, Activision, they're really going to have to kind of look at this and take advantage of it.
I'm of a different opinion mostly. I agree with some of the points you guys mentioned. We itself is kind of becoming its own niche that doesn't really have anything to do with anything here. But as far as DLC goes, especially on Call of Duty, everybody relates to Call of Duty. It's kind of the powerhouse currently. Uh, I like the idea, yeah, old maps being free. I think that was Robert Bowling's kind of stance as well. But I really don't like the idea of Microsoft having the advantage, a 1 month gain on everybody else. The fragmentation that Nick was mentioning is is just way too big. That's just not doing right by your customers. It's Microsoft and Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, Raven, or whatever. They get the bonuses out of it, but their customers are just left hanging. It's just not right. It's stupid in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean it's like even just getting away from, how they do that too, the length at which it takes them to release the DLC is quite atrocious to be honest. And I know we're picking on Call of Duty here, but a lot of games do this where the game launches and you've got like 3 or 4 months until a DLC pack. Now, some games have really, really big DLC, and I can totally understand that. They're working on it. It's a lot of work. There, a bunch of changes, new maps, whatever. But with games like Battlefield and Call of Duty, Battlefield did a pretty good job with their bug fixes and stuff in their expansion, so I can't hit on them too much. But especially with Call of Duty though, the map packs we still haven't gotten them. I think PS3 have they gotten them yet? I'm not sure. Or I think they're getting them soon in April. And we don't have a release date yet. But Xbox has gotten one each month, right? And then they just got the DLC pack. It's almost even too long for them. I mean, all they're doing is giving us maps. That's it. That's the only thing. And the only reason they're waiting so long to do it is to draw out attention for the game, so that way they can make it to their next yearly refresh. If they looked a little bit away from the bottom line for money, I think they could really make their user base a lot happier and carry over a bigger user base to their new titles. Yeah, and so we're both PC players, and while Samson is Xbox, and so he probably
Yeah.
doesn't have the same sort of animosity towards the system as we do. But like Crazy also has an Xbox, and he tried to download the DLC maps a little while ago, and it just wouldn't let him. And
That's stupid.
it's an error or that wouldn't allow them. That's actually apparently pretty large. And so it's things like that. And also the thing about consoles is just slipping away from hitting on Activision is the DLC, the approval process for the consoles takes so long that whereas like PC updates could have been delivered, instantly, done, we're forced to wait for DLC and just patches in general for the consoles, and it's kind of a silly process. I understand that they want to have everything released on the same day, but most of the time it doesn't get a release on the same day anyway, so it's kind of silly.
All right, guys. So I think we talked enough about free DLC. We've gotten a lot of opinions out here. Uh, what do you guys think about at launch DLC, like the whole Mass Effect Day One DLC that came out already on the disc, and Marvel versus Capcom already on the disc with the characters? Like, what do you guys think about that?
When it comes to day one DLC, which is becoming quite a large trend, I think it was Mass Effect, like you said, and I think there was another fighting game, Marvel vs. Capcom or something like that. I don't remember. Where they're releasing on the disc DLC. Now, when it comes to my mind, when I think DLC, and I'm not just talking about the actual what it means, downloadable content or whatever. I'm talking about the act of getting more content after the game is released and after they had time to publish a game, they went back and they made more. That's what I think when I hear the word DLC. Not necessarily, what it actually means. So when you put on the disc content, what I see in that is that okay, we have the majority of the game done. Let's keep working on stuff while it's produced, like the game is being produced, finished, whatever. And then let's tack it on the disc at the end, and then let's unlock it after a month or whatever. It might not be exactly how it's done, but the point is that if you have the time, the effort, and the money to plan, make DLC, and put it on the disc before the game goes live, that's just being cheap or greedy. Because the DLC, the definition in my mind is that you finish the game, it's out, now you have time to work on more stuff to improve your game. Not, okay, we finished what we've set out to do, let's go add some more stuff and sell it just for more money. And they've been doing that a lot, and I can't quite grasp how they think it's a good idea, to be honest, because I don't think anyone's really been happy with it.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many stories out there about people being shafted or, unhappy about these things that have happened, and it really doesn't make any sense to me. To put effort into something before it's even released for something you're going to release later is backwards. It's so backwards. It's just another one of those things I think is just plain stupid. And hopefully there's enough of a, I don't know, uprising is the right word, but complaints or, maybe somebody does it right and people are like, yeah, let's support them instead. And I just hope that eventually somebody's going to realize that this isn't the way to go about it. Something big's got to happen, I think, for that to happen. But currently, I don't like the trends. I think it's freaking stupid.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Nikolai in the his definition of DLC. I definitely think DLC is something, like he said, the game's done. Let's put in a little extra work. Let's, try and implement some features that we didn't quite have time to implement into the game due to scheduling and all that stuff. So let's work on those and let the people extend their experience with their games. But at the same time, I kind of understand a little bit of why some games do it. Like, for instance, fighting games. We mentioned Marvel versus Capcom. Sometimes they have DLC that's on the disc, and the reason why they do that is so when somebody purchases that DLC, they can still interact with people that don't have that DLC. So online, they can fight each other and stuff like that. So in some circumstances, I understand at launch DLC already on the disc, and it's more of a compatibility issue. But as far as things like Mass Effect 3 and stuff like that, where it's mission and characters and all this stuff, that's stuff that should have been in the game already. If you've already put the work into it and it's done, put it on the disc, unlocked for everybody. I shouldn't have to spend Microsoft points or spend money or anything like that to get this stuff. And put all your resources, if you're going to do DLC, put it into after the game has been out and new content. And that's what it should be.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of arguments for this on disc DLC. Now, the main one that they're spouting is, okay, let's put it on the disc, and now you don't have to download it. Yay! Except for that, like, almost every single person that's going to be playing these games has a high internet connection. Like, easily able to download the DLC probably within 1 to 5 hours. Now, that sounds like maybe a long time to some people, but realistically, it's not. And a lot of people can do it overnight. I know not everyone's going to have a high internet connection, but it's a stupid reason. It's just a cover. But I think one of the main things that just baffles me about this is that if you take away the downloadable aspect of it and you put it on the disk or whatever, just to save internet space, or people are going to find it obviously as they have, and then when it's unlockable, people are going to complain. Now, if you're going to make DLC and have it ready for launch, you're going to get backlash. It's just how it's going to be. Why don't these publishers wait, say 2, 3, 4 weeks maybe, and then be like, oh, hey guys, we have some DLC for you, instead of like putting it out on the day, getting all the backlash. It's like, oh hey, we kind of didn't have this ready yet, so we finished it up after the game's launch and gave it to you. Like it makes them look so much better, I guess, in my mind. Even if they're lying, I don't care. It's just how my brain works. That if they give it to us at a later date, then it feels like they were doing something to it to make it worthwhile for us. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird, but that's how I see it at least. But moving on from that, one of the other things we wanted to talk about real quick too is like the non-uniformity of DLC pricing and what that DLC price gets you, especially in regards to multiplayer front, and whether that DLC is going to be better than stock in-game, maybe fighters, weapons, whatever maps, and what a lot of these companies do is they put this stuff out, and to make it seem like it's worthwhile, they usually make the new stuff that comes out a little bit better. And I mean, that's not always the case, but I see that quite frequently, and it gets a lot of complaints because the people who don't want to play DLC are immediately at a disadvantage. Now, I know like Battlefield 3 recently did the thing where you can buy all of the weapons for money, I believe. Now, I don't know what they were thinking there, but that just takes away like the game, basically. Like that's all you did in the game was level up to buy things, and if you can't do that, then it's just like Call of Duty. Like, what's the point of leveling up if you have everything? It takes away a lot of the end game experience. And so it's like when you have DLC that has high costs associated with it and low content, it seems kind of like a silly thing, just like the maps with Modern Warfare. What do you guys think on that?
As far as Battlefield 3 and what they did with unlocking all the weapons, like I'm just starting to get into Battlefield 3 and I'm getting pwned by everybody. And I don't even like the idea of being able to spend Microsoft points and get every weapon. That, like you said, that just takes the entire game away. So that's just really retarded. I don't know why they'd even offer that. As for other things, as far as DLC and pricing and stuff, I think we're definitely just getting ripped off, like all around the board. I don't think there's much DLC outside of like maybe something Rockstar does, where I actually feel that, this is worth my money. It's a significant chunk of a game, and it's well done. It's something that wasn't offered in the original game. So Rockstar definitely does that good. Call of Duty, the map packs, definitely we're getting overcharged, in my personal opinion. Especially as far as Modern Warfare 3, I'm not even really a big fan of any of the maps they've done. I think they're not very well done. So I definitely feel ripped off in that sense. Uh, I don't know. That's pretty much all I got to say about that.
Yeah, when it comes to DLC and that kind of stuff, we've mentioned Battlefield 3 and Call of Duty, and we use these as references. With Call of Duty, I don't have a problem paying $2 or $3 per map. That doesn't sound like too much to me. When it comes to a map pack, it's like, you know, you divide that by however many maps are in it, 15 divided by 5 or whatever. That doesn't bother me. I don't feel like I'm getting ripped off there. And then I can also understand with BF3 with what they're thinking. Like when I play Call of Duty, I hit like the prestige that I want to get to and I stop there because I want all of the options available to me. I want to be able to go through and customize my classes and I don't have to level up my, MP9 or anything like that. I already have it akimboed or, extended mags. And when I want to set up that class, I already have it. I've already worked through all that. So I can understand the appeal of having everything already unlocked. One of the reasons why I dislike BF3 is because somebody will have not necessarily a better gun, but a side grade to a gun that I'm using currently, and I don't have that or leveled up, or I don't have any of the attachments. That kind of bothers me. I would like the ability, and it's something I didn't even realize BF3 did. I might have to look into that. I might actually play BF3 because of that. And I
You're
also
part of the
understand.
problem, cancer, man.
But hey, I mean, think about it though. Like for them too, it makes sense. What else can they do to make money? I don't.
Within regards to DLC though, like prices, this is how I see it. For $15, I'm getting a couple maps. Or I could take that same money and I could buy an entire game like Gotham City Imposters, which is amazing. Now, like for $15, which is one fourth of Call of Duty's price, right? Am I getting one fourth of a game? No, I'm getting one like fifth of the maps from the game. And maps are just a small portion of the overall game in terms of icons, prestige, weapons, all that stuff. And so I know we're using this as an example and it's kind of picking on them, but the point still stands is that if you price your DLC higher on anything than like, $10, you better have a significant chunk of crap in that because otherwise you're charging for, almost some whole games and it just seems kind of overpriced to me.
I agree 100%.
I don't have
It's
a
all
problem.
overpriced.
Yeah, I don't like spending money, but at the same time, it doesn't bother me as much as it seems to bother you guys.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, let's move on from DLC. We talked a lot about it. Got some good stuff. Let's talk about some of the games that are coming out later in the year. I'm just going to mention a few of the ones that we'll be talking about. I don't know exactly which ones we'll be focusing on, but we got Tribes Ascend, Blacklight Retribution. Next we is Halo 4, Far Cry 3, Firefall, PlanetSide 2, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Borderlands 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, BioShock Infinite, Interstellar Marines, and Hawken. Which I believe is which one was that? Was it the flying game? I don't even remember.
Hawken is mechs.
Oh, Max.
It's like
Okay.
a first, third person, giant mech warrior type game.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Okay, okay. Yeah, didn't they get a large sum of money recently, which allowed them to start producing that game? I think
I
they.
honestly don't know. That might be something worth looking into. It doesn't look like it'd be a horrible game, but they went to free to play recently. They changed their model, so that might be interesting.
Yeah, the free to play thing. Yeah, if you look at all the titles I mentioned, let's see how many free to play titles are there. There's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Seven free to play titles, which are going to be probably
Almost half.
yeah, basically half of the year's FPS games. Everyone's definitely starting to shift over that direction, I guess. So it's going
Hey,
to be
well,
interesting.
it's a proven method so far. I'm not surprised. I'm glad that it's gaining traction. That's something that I'm eager to do. I don't want to spend $60 on a game. Like I don't shift from titles. In our last podcast, I mentioned I've played like 3 or 4 main games. Free to play is a huge like. I don't mind trying it now. I'm not, why not? I got nothing to lose. Go for it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty much in the same boat. I'm not much of a PC player, But you start saying things like free, and my ears start ringing, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, yeah, why don't we get into PC gaming? Why don't we give this a try? So, free to play is great. I think more companies should jump on the bandwagon and try and follow this.
Well, that's going to be the nice thing for PC too with free to play is that the consoles really can't match it. They can't really do free to play because they have to pay for the physical disc, and then it's like it's people on the Xbox aren't really they don't understand the concept. I think of free to play because there hasn't really been any, if at all, free to play games, has there? I don't even. I mean, I
Never
don't.
No,
has.
Oh, yeah.
No.
no. There,
Eh,
there won't be free to play games on Xbox or PlayStation or any console until they do away with the disc. That's just
yeah.
proven. It's not going to happen. So if you go to DLC, like everything's going to be downloaded onto your console, maybe they'll, embrace a free to play kind of thing. I actually think on PS3 they got things like the DC Online game that has a free to play multiplayer aspect, but you still have to physically buy the game. So it's not really
Gotcha.
free to play.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to get away from crappy free to play too. Like, there used to be a lot of free to play used to be synonymous with crap. Like, the game's crap, let's put it out free to play. But, you got Tribes, Blacklight, PlanetSide 2, all these things are going to be amazing free to play games. And, like speaking of Tribes, that just released from beta, I think, a couple days ago. So everyone should be going
Yeah.
play that. Go, 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 play, play. It's fun.
Yeah, you'll
Um,
be see some of that on our channel specifically. Look
yeah,
forward to it.
I'll actually start live streaming that soon, and we'll start doing some guides to that. So if you're interested in the game, check back, and we'll do some of that. But let's talk a little bit about PlanetSide 2. A lot of people don't
Yeah.
know about it. A lot of people are, maybe heard of it or whatever. Now, maybe my bias, but when
Yeah,
you
you
look,
are the biggest Planet
Yeah.
Side 2 fanboy.
it is. I am. I'm not gonna
I was
lie.
the Treyarch Mark in the
But
last
see,
episode, and
but
you're the
see,
Planet Side 2 fanboy.
you got me. I will agree. But it's hard to deny that when you look at that list of games, to find a game that will have more reach than PlanetSide 2,
Oh,
realistically.
it definitely sounds fantastic. I have trouble believing that it's going to be as smooth as they say. They're going to have thousands of players all playing in this real-time war. It's not just a battle, it's a war. And I don't I
I'll
can't.
address that in a second. Let's get a little general explanation going. PlanetSide 2, which is currently in alpha, probably going to be in beta around E3. That's the word on the street, which is in June, by the way. Which we'll be covering right here on FPSGeneral. Oh my god. So, but PlanetSide 2. So, PlanetSide was the original game back in 2003 made by Sony Online Entertainment. It's basically a three-faction game, persistent, which means that nothing ever goes away. It's kind of like World of Warcraft, where you go into a giant world and everything's always there. Now, there's no NPCs. The only people playing the game are other players. Now, they did this back in 2003, where a continent could hold, I think, roughly 800 players, 800 to 1,000, somewhere around there. I think actually it might have been 600. But the point is that the battles that took place on these continents, which are, I believe, about 8 kilometers by 8 kilometers. I don't remember exactly how large they were. They're massive. They're about, I believe, the kind of like relevant aspect of it was that a Call of Duty map is roughly one cell of a PlanetSide 2 continent, and a PlanetSide 2 continent has like 134 cells or 150 cells or some crazy amount of things. So, and they're going to stay the same size from PlanetSide 1 and PlanetSide 2. So that gives you kind of an idea that they're keeping the game pretty much the same. They're basically revamping it. But if you just take all that out of it, what it is, it's a free-to-play shooter game that can have roughly a few thousand players on one continent at any given time. And I mean, they did this back in 2003. So if they can do that back in 2003, I would hope they can do that in 2012. And they also said that the graphics are going to be roughly equivalent or better than a lot of the best games out right now. So, but they
We've seen
also
footage from it. It's on our channel. It looks pretty badass. I like their lighting engine too. It's not bad. It looks like a decent game.
yeah, and they're going to have day-night cycles and all that stuff. So I mean, it's definitely something to check out. But
Oh
On the
my
practicals,
God.
yeah,
You
on the
are
practical
such a
side,
fan.
I'm really looking forward to like getting a clan going, getting a bunch of guys, and then one night we're all gonna play on a weekend. We're gonna like, you know what? Our job is to go through and we're gonna go take this base, and we're gonna have like 30 people just go like I'm looking forward to that aspect of it. It's still a shooter, still having fun. You got vehicles and whatnot, but I like the community aspect. I can't wait for it to have an FPSG group just go, claim some part of the map as our own. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I first things first, Nikolai. My God, man, you are such a fanboy. But one thing I am gonna say is I definitely feel educated after listening to your little spiel there about the great Planet Side 2. I'm kind of buying into it. I'm just hoping I'm gonna have a PC that can run this thing.
That's a good thing. I don't want to sell it too much, but Planet, the developers have said that if your computer can run, on average, the games that are out now, Call of Duty, all that stuff, they said that you'll be able to play the game 100% at playable FPS, no matter how many people are on screen. Now, obviously, if you've got 2,000 people on screen, it's gonna get a little bit laggy, but it's not gonna be like this game isn't a oh my god, I'm 1 millisecond slower than my enemy, I'm gonna lose game. This is I'm gonna go with my group of friends and we're gonna do a giant expedition with all of our tanks and we're gonna roll over this entire continent. It's not about Twitch shooting, it's not about, that one bullet is
It's
gonna
going
make
to
the
be more
difference.
like a Halo versus a Call of Duty, and how long it takes to maybe kill somebody. It isn't going to be like this 3 bullets in a split second, you're dead type deal. It's nothing like that at all.
Yeah, and in regards to Halo, actually, this game is actually very similar to Halo. Halo actually came out after this, but the game it plays very similarly in terms of the type of like environments. Like that's how things like look. There's a lot of futuristic technology, you know, um, but there's just so much customization that you can do. And for a free to play game, it's going to be nice to quickly address the free to play aspect of this. They've already said repeatedly they're not going to sell power. They're not going to sell weapons or anything like that. All they're going to sell is camo, side grades, and time. Now, what I mean by time is when you die in the old game, it used to take you a while to respawn. So in this game, they said that they're going to try and offer things like speeding up your respawn or things like that that save you physical amounts of time, so you can get in the game faster. But they won't ever sell like bullets that are better or anything like that. So
Yeah, this gun kills in 2 bullets faster. This one shoots faster than anything else. That kind of type stuff. Yeah.
yeah, but
All I need to know is you said free to play, massive real time battles, and I just might have a chance to run it on my PC. So I'm sold.
I
Let's
know,
play some
right?
PlanetSide 2.
Sounds good. Let's move on real quick to Blacklight and Nexui. So Blacklight just came out a little while ago. It's the sequel to Blacklight Tango Down, I believe it was.
Yes.
Yeah, and that one was originally a pay-to-play game. This one's going to be free-to-play. I haven't looked at their pricing model for how they're going to be making money off that, but if it's anything like the first one, it should be a nice game, and definitely should get a larger player base now that it's free-to-play.
Yeah, Blacklight Tango Down, I purchased that. It was $15. It was a lot of fun, but there were a few core fundamental issues. Like your aim down sight, your ADS was way slow compared to your aiming from the hip. So it was when you're used to these different things, there was no way to change that. You play Call of Duty or all these different games, and you get into this one, it was just so different. So that was kind of annoying. And then the other thing was they have like a I forget what the device is called, and it's also in Retribution where you can press a button and it's basically like wall hacks. And you can only have it up for so long, but you can see where everybody is on the map. So it's a really fast-paced game, and it is kind of the Twitch shooter where if you get on target first kind of type deal. So it's a whole different ball game comparative to all the other FPSs that you've seen. And Retribution, as far as I can tell, they've fixed a lot of the things that people had gripes on from Tango Down.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to this. I have a little bit of experience with the first one, and you mentioned the things like look through the walls and stuff. I actually enjoyed these features. Like I thought it was kind of a badass little thing to be able to do. So to hear that they're improving, the control aspects of the game and make it more streamlined and less clunky, because that was one of my major gripes with the first one as well. So. This is going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. It's not the highest game on my list, but definitely something I'm looking forward to kind of delving into.
And it's free, same thing.
And
Why
it's
not?
free.
Go
Exactly. So
Free.
go
you
for it.
got nothing to lose.
Yeah, and now let's talk a little bit about next Wii's. I know that's been out on the consoles for a while, and they just recently said that they're going to release that on PC, I believe May 3rd.
Yep.
Looks like a nice little fun game. I think it's based on the Crysis 2 engine, which is nice. And so it's a nice looking game. It looked a little bit like Tribes to me, but I
hmm
never really gave it enough time to really go into it. But I'm definitely looking forward to when it comes out, giving it a little play test. Have you played with it, Nathan? I don't know.
Not really. I've watched some videos on YouTube of some other people playing it. Um, it doesn't really look like something I'm too much interested in. Seems pretty straightforward, just kind of run and gun kind of shooter. It doesn't look like it's more of the strategy kind of shooter, and that's more of the kind of first person shooter that I'm into. So, not really my style as far as I could tell. I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's actually it reminds me a lot of Unreal or Unreal Tournament or Unreal 3 or whatever, where it's like this fast-paced. They call it an arena shooter, where it's kind of mostly like capture the flag, type thing. And it reminds me a lot of picking up a gun and shooting a moving target, kind of like Tribes, but in a smaller like yeah, it's an arena shooter. I think it's kind of cool. You actually pick up like health packs and stuff like that and upgrades on the fly. Something similar to Halo in the sense that you don't just start out with a gun. You have to go to these power positions and get these different things. And as far as I can tell, it looks like a fun game. I think I might actually pick it up just to try it out. It's not going to be like your full $60 game either.
yeah, yeah. It should be a nice little break from the big shooters out there. Let's move on a little bit. Halo 4 is obviously coming out.
Yeah.
So
What can
hopefully
you say
this.
about Halo 4?
Yeah, I mean, I think a new company's handling it this time,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, so they passed the reins
Bungie
off.
Bungie left after Halo Reach, and I think at one point Bungie said no Halo 4 is going to happen. These new guys came in, they're like, yeah, let's change that. So going back to the Spartans, I don't know much about the Halo universe. Like I know it's 360 only, and it was, this big monster of a game, back when it was out, and then Call of Duty kind of dethroned it. Now it's trying to come back, and as far as the game looks, it looks amazing. They're getting rid of like armor locks and those kind of type stuff. But I don't know enough about it to say like, yeah, it's going to be amazing or anything. But from what I've seen, it looks pretty cool.
What I'm hoping for, and they haven't announced it, is goddamn PC port. I want a PC port. The first Halos had PC ports and they were fun. Halo was so much fun on the computer. I had a
Yep.
blast. There were so many little fun things you could do, and then they stopped obviously because they learned they could make more money and not waste time. But I think if Halo 4 comes out and it goes Xbox PC, it'll immediately just be awesome.
Not
Now,
gonna happen. I don't think it'll
obviously,
happen.
well, Bungie's not doing it anymore, and Bungie was the one that didn't want to do it. So, Microsoft, I think, threw like $1 bajillion at them to get them to have the rights. So, I mean, we'll just have to see. I mean, it's obviously doubtful, highly doubtful, but one can
Yeah.
dream. One can
One thing
dream.
that annoyed me about the PC ports of the old ones is that it took them like a literal year after the game came out on 360 to get it to the PC. So, like, it was cool. It's a nice little feature. Some people grabbed it, but because it didn't come out when all the hype was there, the PC was nothing in comparison, obviously.
To what? The original X? It was on the original Xbox though, so it actually came out almost the same time. So I don't know what you're talking about. I'm kind of confused.
Well, like Halo 1 and Halo 2, the PC ports, they came out like a year after they hit the 360 version.
Yeah, but they actually got extremely large followings. They were very, very large.
Comparative to the 360, though, it's
You mean the
minuscule.
regular Xbox, and they were
Yeah,
roughly the same
right.
size.
Sorry. Yeah, you know what I
Yeah, believe me, believe me. I played. There was a lot of people playing the Halos on computer. I'm not saying it's the same size, but I think you're discounting the audience for the Halo franchise, for the computer at least. But oh well. Either
It's what.
way,
Yeah.
doubtful coming out for PC anyways. But yeah, let's move
Yeah.
on. Oh, did you want to say something?
I was just gonna say Halo 4 is definitely gonna be a big game. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm not so great at the multiplayer. It's kind of a different kind of multiplayer. It takes so many shots to get through a guy's armor. Sometimes that's annoying to me. I like that fast kill, fast death,
It's a rhythm
kind of running around.
shooter.
It's a rhythm shooter, exactly. But I like the storyline. I'm actually one of those guys that went out. I've got all the Halo games. I actually enjoyed the storyline, as confusing as it is, for the most part. I went out and I got Halo Wars. I totally bought into the whole Halo thing. So I'm looking forward to Halo 4. They're definitely making some changes. I've heard, like they're doing new armor types and stuff. So it's going to be quicker, faster pace, more corridors, less open spaces in multiplayer. Um, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. I would like to see them kind of go head to head with Call of Duty again, like the good old days. It was
It's funny you
Halo
mentioned
versus
Call of
Call of
Duty.
Duty.
They're taking a lot of cues from the Call of Duty universe, as far as like weapon unlocks at different levels and stuff like that. Some of the formulas that are Call of Duty specific are going to kind of port over there, kind of like how Crisis 2 took some of it with kill streaks and stuff like that, or Killzone 2. Like it didn't feel like a COD game, but they took some of the cues, and I think you'll see a lot of that in Halo 4. I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised.
I
I
wouldn't be
don't.
surprised either. I think in that's actually a good thing because pretty much everybody and their mother kind
Boo,
of played. Oh, don't even
boo,
start. Don't even start.
boo. Halo's got
You,
its own thing going, man. I don't think they need
okay,
to. I don't need to think to capitulate to
but
the crappy audience.
everybody knows Call of Duty, right? And it's got some really cool features, but at the same time, everybody wants something that's not Call of Duty. But if you could take Halo and throw in some, like Crazy Penguin was saying, unlocks and stuff like that, but
Boo.
still keep the pacing that is Halo, I think it's a winning formula. It'll be great.
We'll see. I guess we'll see how it turns out.
I mean, you're not gonna. I don't know. It doesn't seem like you can go wrong with it. I don't think by them doing that, all of a sudden, some of the fanboys might be mad. But as far as the game goes, I don't think you're gonna make a worse game because you took some cues from a giant that is Call of Duty.
Yeah,
Boo.
oh, boo all you want. Let's move on though. One game I want to talk about is Far Cry 3. I don't know if you guys have played Far Cry before,
I
but
played the second split screen with some friends.
Yeah, I've
Nothing
played the
spectacular.
originals a little, but nothing too amazing. But I'm actually looking forward to it, definitely.
I love Far Cry 3. Like if you're just playing, so much random stuff happens. As far as I know, the multiplayer for Far Cry 3, it's like you were saying with Halo and taking some Call of Duty things. It looks like they're kind of
Boo.
being influenced by Call of Duty as well. So I'm excited if they can keep some of the random aspects of random things that happen while playing Far Cry and have them happen in a multiplayer environment. I think it's going to be crazy. Uh, and not to mention, it's one of the most beautiful games.
Yeah, I was just
The
gonna say it
engine,
looks beautiful. It
yeah,
really
the
does.
engine is always top notch. So this is going to be a big one for me. I think everybody should be, hyped for this one. This is going to be good. Something different.
Well, speaking of different, let's skip over a little bit of this. I mean, a lot of the ones that we have less people already know about. Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I mean, that's just a rehash of Counter-Strike Source. We got Borderlands 2. It's just a new Borderlands. That's obviously
Borderlands
gonna,
2 is going to be
yeah.
badass
But
though.
I mean, it's not
Yeah, it
exactly
is.
groundbreaking in what
We
they're doing.
we were
It's just
talking about DLC. The Borderlands did DLC right. They're kind of like Fallout and like
yeah,
they know what they're doing. It's going to be an
definitely.
amazing game. I'm looking forward to it.
Then we got let's see what else. BioShock Infinite. That's obviously going to be a really fun game. We'll definitely be covering that a lot. That'll be awesome.
That's all storyline. I don't know.
Yeah.
I never really got into the old BioShocks. I should have. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to go back and replay those now. Kind of
Yeah,
like Mass Effect. Mass Effect.
they really did a lot of things new, and so hopefully they carried over into the new game. I mean, I just like the setting. I always like the whole Fallout, or in this case BioShock, like 50s, 60s, 70s type stuff, where it's, you got propaganda and all that stuff. So that was always a fun thing for me. So, but let's move on real quick to Interstellar Marines. I don't know if you guys know too much about this.
Gun Dog.
Interstellar Marines is a crowd-funded, crowdsourced, I guess, whatever way, AAA indie game that's not doesn't have a release date yet, but basically it's being built by a company called Zero Point Software over in I don't remember where it is, Iceland, Sweden, somewhere in that area. But either way, so they're going to be they're building this game iteratively, and they're releasing every stage to get to as they've come to it. So they've released kind of like a shooting range. They've released something called Running Man, and these things are called slices. The latest slice they released was Deadlock, which is their multiplayer test bed. So every week they kind of have like an update, and they show what they've been doing and all that stuff. So it's really kind of a new take on developing a game and being open to your customers, and you can go over there and you can donate money to them. You can buy the game preemptively, and then when it comes out you'll get it free, and you'll get
Pre-order. Yeah.
special aspects and all that stuff. I mean, obviously it's going to take them a while. They're building a game from scratch with a small company, and they've refused money from a few very large companies because they want to do the game right. So go check out that link there. We'll put that in the description, and give them a look.
It's definitely something that I'm really interested in. I like the model. It's something we haven't seen. Like everybody's switching to free to play because they realize it has there's something to be said about it. Interstellar Marines takes it just a step further, and they're like, we don't want the backing of Activision or EA or anything. We want to do this, keep the small company feel, and then they're also producing something that feels bigger and better than like a Call of Duty or Battlefield. And then on top of that, as they're releasing it, they're completely transparent. They're like, hey, we just finished this bit. How do you like it? Then they can get feedback on it through the process of making the entire game. Overall, it's going to take them a lot longer to make something, but because they're 100% transparent and they're doing it in chunks or slices, it makes it a really interesting experience. Yeah, it's freaking cool. Go for it. Hopefully, it works out for them. And the game is going to be top notch too. If you've played any of these slices, like as far as shooters go, it is spot on. Like I wish Call of Duty or any of these guys could emulate what these guys are doing. It is top notch, perfect for a
Yeah,
no
it's
name
a
company.
very polished experience for anything that you do. It's you look at it and you go, wow, this is pretty cool, and this is just something they whipped up for this last week or whatever. It's like, damn, why don't we have more of this stuff going on? So
Yeah,
Definitely.
I don't really know anything about the game. I'm just kind of hearing about it now from you guys. But the way they're going about developing it definitely sounds really cool. Uh, it kind of gives you the feeling like if you were to send them some money, it feels like you're making an investment. You're part of this, whole creation, and hopefully there's, community feedback. But speaking of communities, that's just going to bring a lot of people together, a whole bunch of supporter of this game because they've put money into it. You put money into something, you're gonna play the hell out of that. So I think it's definitely a great way to approach developing a game because you're gonna have some diehard subscribers, diehard players from day one. So that is definitely wicked. I'm definitely gonna have to put in some time and do some research and check this out.
yeah, definitely. And then all of our listeners, our three or two listeners, go check it out and give them a look. A lot of these other games are pretty big and they got the funding, but Interstellar Marines can always use the help. But that's pretty much it for what we're covering today. We'll try and get
Yep.
some interesting topics up for next week.
Leave
Thanks for
suggestions in the
listening.
comments, please.
Yeah, if you guys got any suggestions, leave them in the comment section below.
Yeah, it's not like we can't come up with stuff, but if you guys got specific stuff you want to talk about, it's always good to address the community and all that jazz. So let us know how we're doing and all that stuff, and give us a like if you can, and subscribe if you're hearing us, for the first time and you've listened this far, which is, my God, props
I
to
Yeah,
you.
applaud you.
I'm clapping for you right now. So that's pretty much about it, though. Thanks for listening. This has been episode 2 of Relax and Reflect. I'm Nikolai,
I'm Samson.
And I'm crazy.
and have a good night.
Peace, guys.
Later, guys.